Welcome everyone to Unwind with Wine. Ladies, Unwind with Wine. Yes. Vuyanzi coaches chat back for episode 2. Let me stop right now and say, if you're watching this and you have not seen episode 2, you need to go back and watch episode 2. No, fine, stay here, you can watch it. But afterwards, go back to episode 2 so you can actually see what this follow-up conversation is about. So I'm so happy to have 2 of my girlfriends here today. First, I wanted to introduce Carolyn Blackwell. She is a web developer and an entrepreneur. Say what's up, Carolyn.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, and also I have my other girlfriend here, Veronica Deakin. She is a distinguished educator. Veronica, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody?
Awesome. So I'm so happy that both of you have seen it and both of you are here. I'm going to start this off this way, that I want to ask you, if it were to be a tweet, what were your first impressions to what you felt, what you saw on episode 2? Veronica, I'm going to start with you.
You will have different priorities in different seasons of your life. So I think, we have different seasons that we are doing different things. And it's just stood out to me that there's different things that you will have to prioritize in different seasons. And sometimes what we prioritize in the last season is not what we can prioritize in the current season. And, we have to be okay with that.
Wow. We're going to come back to that. That's good stuff right there. Okay. Carolyn, your tweet.
I think I would say procrastination is, in effect, find the cause, and maybe say, what's holding you back?
Okay, I love what both of you said. So I want to start with the end first. You said procrastination is an effect. So talk about what you connected with in terms of that, because something made you say that. And what did you connect with when you heard, as you're saying that, what is it that you connected with?
Yeah, that episode really spoke to me and to my life and things that I'm experiencing. And, a lot of times when you procrastinate and, hold off from doing a specific task, there's something causing you to do that, whether it's fear, other priorities, but it's a result of something. So it's important to find out what it is.
You know what? I just want to say this. When I think about procrastination in my own life, I want to say right now, I want to say like, oh, I've gotten over it next. But here's the reality of things. Just the other day, I swear to you, just the other day, I found myself not doing something, but I was not calling myself out and saying what it was. It was really procrastination. But you know what I was saying? I was like, well, it's kind of hard to do that. And, I don't really know how to do this or do that. And that's what I was saying. And then it's like as if the heavens opened and the light shone from heaven and said, it's procrastination. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Even though I had glorified it and it sounded legit. And maybe, in fact, a piece of it was legit. But it was procrastination nonetheless. And for me, I want to go back to something that you're saying. If I go a little bit deeper, for me in that particular, I'll tell you what it was. It may sound like nothing to you, but it was something to me. So it was I'm creating a Facebook challenge for my group. I find that just the planning of it, like, I just want to go like this, like, for real though. Like, I don't want to plan it, okay? So I was like, oh, but this is hard. I don't know all the steps. I really don't. So what is the cause? Carolyn, I'm going to go back to what you said. The cause is I've run into a capacity problem, literally a capacity problem. And because all of a sudden there's that resistance. It's like, because I have to learn something new. So what happens with that? Resistance comes up because I have to learn something new. And what's the effect? It didn't get done, but it's going to get done. It's going to get done. I'll drink to that. Cheers to it getting done. Veronica, I'm sure you've never struggled with procrastination in your life ever.
No, I definitely deal with it. And I think what stood out to me in your episode was what is your why? Mm-hmm. So I think that you always have to go back to what is your why. So sometimes sometimes the why is, okay, why am I procrastinating? Is it something that I don't know? Is it I'm just too tired and it's just not something I want to do at the end of the day? No matter how great it seems, at the end of the day, when I walk in the door, I don't want to do anything. So it's just like, so now the why is, well, how can I help this situation? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to ask for help from so that I could better this situation? So I think, sometimes when especially big tasks like planning an event, is so many little details that matter. And I think, I've learned over and over again, it's really about delegation and getting other people to help out. Because when you're doing everything by yourself, I think it's always easier to procrastinate when it's all on your shoulders. But the more, you reach out to other people, because I'm not super tech savvy. So it's just like, so it's like, okay, reach out to the person that could get this done in 15 minutes. It's going to take you 3 hours. So that's why you're dragging your feet, because it takes you 3 hours, but somebody that it takes 15 minutes to do. So you know what? I'd rather pay someone to do something that's only going to take them 15 minutes, but it's going to take me 3 hours to do. So it's a process.
Carolyn, I see you nodding.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I was thinking about that as well with the why, and finding out the why is so important in so many aspects, whether it's why you want to pursue something or why you're procrastinating, but always taking that moment of reflection is very important. And I completely agree.
And something else, Veronica, you just brought up, the looking and getting support. I want to say this, and I will probably say this 1 million times on this show, because most of us who will come here, thus far it's been everybody, we identify as Black people, Black women. And there's something about the way we're looked upon that we are somehow stronger than strong, okay? And and listen, that perception has led to a lot of problems in society, but we're not going there today, right? But also, I believe it's a narrative that we have adopted many times for ourselves. And so therefore, how many times do we need help? I'm going to say that for the back of the room. How many times do we need help? But because of this narrative, yes, can I get an amen?
Yes.
Or can I drink to that? I don't know. Whichever one we want to do. Can I get a drink to that, right? But we need support.
Yes.
But it's like we look at it like it's a weak thing. Like for me to say, Veronica, I need your help. To me to say, Carolyn, I need your help. That somehow this makes me less than. Somehow you see my weakness. But can we talk about that? We're not saying that. I mean, can you guys relate to that thing?
I also think that if you don't know the why, then it's hard to ask for help. And I think in some situations, like you are like afraid to ask for help because you felt like you could do it on your own, or sometimes you said no and then realized you shouldn't have said no. Like someone offered you help and you said, "Oh, I'm good," and then you realize, "Oh, like I'm not good." Like, and I think sometimes it's the backtracking that is harder than it is at the beginning if where things are going. So I just think when I heard that question of why, I thought that was just really important because, we think that, we don't have to think that deep about things, but I just think in everything there's an answer to that why, and that helps you solve your issue.
Carolyn, what say you?
I completely agree with Veronica. I think finding the why is very important. But however,
Okay, talk to us.
this whole thing of, like you were saying, of being that independent person. I was just arguing or debating with someone today. I was like, I just don't feel as independent as when you met me 4 years ago. You know, just this whole pressure, the weight on our shoulders to be independent, to do it ourselves, to only depend on ourselves, and to not ask for help because that's a sign of weakness. I completely agree. And it stifles you, you know, and sometimes when you end up procrastinating, it's because it just seems so overwhelming. You don't want to ask for help, but you look at all the things that have to get done and you're like, I just can't do this. So yeah.
Can I say I'm over the I'm strong. Like, I raised 3 children. I raised, 3 grown ass children. I have been there. I have done that. And I am so ready. Is this thing on? Hello. I'm ready. She ready? You know,
Yes.
for someone to come around. I know I'm strong, okay? So I don't need to prove it. I'm sorry. Yes, I had to go there with the I don't need to. I had to do that because, like, I'm tired. I was speaking to this one woman who I know, whose man brought a house for both of them. She's like, I've been strong. I'm tired. I was like, yes, boo, me too. And so, like, but it took something. But I want to go, Carolyn, because based on that point, it took something to get to this, right? This didn't happen overnight. And one thing I will say, my soon-to-be ex-husband said to me, but he had some good points. And I will say this, it's kind of a joke going to be the next thing that I'm going to say because he's totally not there anymore. But, and this is no blame to him, this is a great guy. So anyway, he says this, I had a house that I bought with the kids. And so there was a point, I guess, early on in our marriage where the gutters needed to be cleaned. And so I hear the kids up there. Meanwhile, he's supervising them, but they're up on the ladder and things like that. And I'm looking out the window like, whoa, and he looks and he says, hey, and this line is priceless though, from a guy that I'm meant to be with. But he said, you don't have to do this anymore. You don't, this isn't your job anymore. Now, I want to say this to all the feminists who will get mad at me for me not wanting to clean my gutters. I am a woman. I am strong. I could be a feminist, but I don't mind if somebody wants to clean my gutters. And so, can we drink to the gutter cleaning?
Yes.
Okay, I enjoy chivalry from guys that I meet. And I think that sometimes it doesn't come off that way because I'm so used to doing things on my own that I might just open my own door, but it's not that I don't want you to open the door. So when I realize that he wants to open the door, I do slide to the side and let him do what, he wants to do. And, so I think, help is that same way. Sometimes you are so used to doing it on your own. It's not so much that you don't want the help from other people. It's just that you're used to doing it on your own. So you keep proceeding that way. But when the right people enter and they say, no, I want to help you in this way, like I never have a problem with moving to the side and say, yes, definitely, I will accept all that you have to offer. And, and that's where I stand with, help with certain things. And I think sometimes, and asking for help, it's not so much that I don't want help. I think I'm also always thinking about other people. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you have this, that, and the other on your plate. Like, I don't want to ask you to have to do this, and it's one of those things where, you have to say, like, you know what, if they offer it, take them up on it. Like, don't worry about what you think, they can't handle because, like other things that are going on. So.
Can I just get this for the wedding goers real quick? 1, 2, 3, slide to the left. 1, 2, 3, slide to the left. Hey, slide to the right. Everybody clap your hands. Thank you, sorry. That came to my mind when you said you slide to the side. Sorry. Carolyn, go ahead.
Yes, I completely agree. And, it reminds me of the one word that you hear at work, you hear managers talk about, and it's delegating, and learning how to delegate. And even if you have to pay for that service, learning how to use all of your resources properly as opposed to putting it all on you, for that to be more effective and efficient in what you need to do.
So I want to go back to something because we keep talking about it. However, I feel like we're skating around it. And so it came up in the session, but it didn't just come up in this session. This comes up in lots of one-on-one sessions that I've done with clients. And let's talk about the why for a moment and what the why really is. Because the why is your motivating factor. The why is the bridge that gets you from where you are to, or that drives you. It's the why is your Uber driver that gets you from that gets you from where you are to where you want to be. If you don't have your why, you don't have anything. And I think I said this in the episode at the wrap up. And quite frankly, for those of you who didn't hear it, I'll say it again, that I really had to revisit my why. When my kids were grown and flown, I had to revisit my why. But listen. That was why I had to revisit my why. There are circumstances that happen in your life. Veronica and Carolyn and Veronica, if I ask you, are you in the same place, in the same, like when I say position, I don't mean literally position as in a job, but the same position that you were in 5, 7, or 10 years ago? Both of you probably will say no. Doesn't matter that you work at the same job or not, but as far as who you are. So the thing is, I talk about a circumstance that I was in with my children that caused me to revisit my why. However, the bottom line is, sometimes we have to go back to the why, because the why both of you had at 25 may not be your why today. Now, it very well may be. However, life changes us. So let's talk about that why. I don't know. Are you guys wanting to mention or talk about your whys in your life? Like why it is you do what you do and what it is that you're doing and why it is you do it. Anyone brave enough to talk about that?
Yeah, I can speak to, over the years, when I was in college, I grew to really like performing, and the why, I think, and that was that it was just like to be able to present a gift on stage, and the energy that you got back from the crowd, especially speaking of like live audiences, it was just so like such a good feeling, because it's like you just feel all this positive energy coming your way. So it's like, even if you're like dancing on stage and you feel like you're going to collapse, if you feel that energy coming your way, it's like it gives you that oomph to keep going. And and just it was a good feeling, because it was like, okay, I'm doing something that I like and it's giving energy to people, positive energy. So as I've moved along and done different things related to performance, I took like a brunch and learn a few years ago, and they wanted to know what your passion was. And I said, I don't feel like I have any one passion. I feel like my passion, if I could put it into one word, would be creation. I thought about that when I was listening to that last episode, because I think sometimes we beat ourselves up if we're not doing something on a large scale. So it's like, sometimes I feel like it's just, as long as I'm feeding that passion, I'm good. So it's just like, so if I have to feed it in a little way during this season, then I'll feed it in a little way this season. In another season, I might be able to do 9 hours a week of practice after work. But in certain seasons, that's just not what, I have in me. But it's just realizing that, like there's not one set way to do everything, because I feel like your needs are always changing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think the
That's
why
awesome.
changes.
Awesome. 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 Go, Carolyn. As if
Yeah.
you can see that I'm pointing to you. You can't see I'm pointing to you. You. Sorry.
No, when I was watching the episode, that was the part that stumped me in my personal life.
Mm.
You know what got me when you were like, she was like, I enjoy doing it. It makes me feel good. And you're like, but what's the why? And I'm like, what is the why? What's beyond that? What's beyond just what stops it from just being a hobby? Why move to the career? And I think about the same thing with some of my career choices and where I want to ultimately end up. It's, what's the why? Why am I going down this path? I that stumps me.
Thank you, just Carolyn, for just being authentic and being vulnerable. I'm sure many women are seeing this like, me too. The other hashtag me too, not the other one. But but listen. And that's where one of you were talking earlier about, right, doing the self-reflection. Because sometimes, listen, we are so busy, and I'll say this, like, all of us live on the East Coast, right? So we're like this, boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's our nature. And we're so busy. How many times or how much time do we make? Notice I did not say have, because grown people make time for what they want to do. So how much time can we make to sit just like this? Watch this, watch this. Felt a little uncomfortable. You were hoping I would, I think she should hurry up and, I think she should say something. She's not saying anything. But just sit in the discomfort of our silence. So specifically, we can get to the core of why we're doing what we're doing. When they call it the rat race, I know we call it the rat race, right? But I think about the hamster on the wheel. And I think about what he does, right? He's going, or she, let's call her she. She's going round and around. And maybe she first got on that wheel because she was like, okay, it looks like it's a good time over here. Okay, I'm going to do it. And then she's like, now why did I get on here in the first place? And so many times it's like, well, obviously you're not enjoying it anymore, so move on. And I think that's all of us, because it's so easy to be caught up in our jobs, in our routines. And listen. Oh my gosh, I'm just having such a flow here. It's so easy to be caught up and forget to even revisit the thing that brought us there in the first place. One thing in all of my workshops, or even sometimes one-on-one coaching, not always one-on-one coaching, but a lot of times in my workshop, I do this. I have, do you guys want to do an exercise with me?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but let's do this exercise. This is what I do with people. Are both of you, are you right-handed? Are both of you right-handed or no? Veronica, what about you? Okay, so take your right hand and just put it on your heart.
I'm right-handed.
Okay. And if you're comfortable, if you could close your eyes, don't look at me for a moment. And just breathe a couple of deep breaths, because I know I bring a lot of energy, so I want to take it down for a moment. And I'm going to ask both of you to repeat these words after I say them. But here's the thing. When you repeat them, I want you to remain silent for 5 seconds. But I mean like 1,000, 2, 1, like that, okay? So please repeat after me. Who am I?
Who am I?
And when you're done counting, you can come back. And the thing is, I have people do that because when you hear what your heart says, and I'll ask you both if you feel like answering, I don't know if you feel like answering, but when you do that and you hear what your heart says about you, you can say, you know, I may be a web developer, I may be an educator, but who are you? That can begin to give you a clue about your why. It can begin to give you a clue about the whole reason, your reason for being. I'm going to stop talking for a moment. Carolyn, what came up for you? You don't have to share every intricate detail, but anything you'd like to share from that?
Well, initially, I thought I'm a fun-loving person. That was my initial thought. And then I started to go to creative, strong. You know, so I started to kind of give myself or identify my attributes and things that I'm proud of being.
Veronica.
I thought about, you know, my relation to people. Like, I am a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a family relative. And then I went to, you know, a lot of people ask you, like, if you're an introvert or extrovert. Or some introvert tendencies, then I think, and I'm always leading a discussion with, no, I'm totally people person, but realizing, no, you need, like, some time to yourself. And that goes back to that why. Like, sometimes, like, why am I angry with someone? I'm like, I'm just irritated because I really need time to myself. Like, it don't got anything to do with, you know, the exact situation or person sometimes.
I can tell you, I would have been one of the ones arguing with you, telling you, I've known Veronica only a couple of years, but if somebody would have said, is she an introvert or an extrovert? I would have told, there was no way I would have ever said extrovert at any point in time. Well, I just do feel that sometimes the whole notion of an introvert, people mistaken it for being shy, like the person doesn't want to talk, but that's not true. And introvert can talk, but just like you said, like, to me, your whole aura is introvert. So I'm surprised. It's funny because I'm like, just now when you said someone argued with you, I was like, of course, because she's an introvert. I mean, do we not know this? You know? So, and I will say this, I dare to say this. There's still a lot I don't know about you, Veronica, but you may take on a lot of the energy of other people, which makes you exhausted in a certain way. Not exhausted like definitely. I need to go to sleep, but that is, I would dare to say, listen, folks, this is me going out on a limb here completely. I would dare to say that you are an empath in some way. Therefore, you soak up the energy of other people. I've read
about that a lot.
Okay, you soak up the energy of other people, and it's like, okay, it's great. Bye. You know, like, you know, I'm done now. So that about you, Veronica. That reminds me of episode 1. If you guys didn't watch it, make sure you see episode 1, where Tina talks about protecting her energy, because she's very much a super empath. So that may be something you might want to consider. Now, I want to say this. We're going to come up to the last word. There are so many more things we could talk about. However, just final thoughts, and I'm not going to try to lead you into any final thought. You can just say what comes to mind. We're going to act like this is a tweet, 140 characters or less. So I see Carolyn immediately answer you like, So Carolyn, let's start off with you. In a wrap up, what are your final thoughts? Any thoughts as a tweet that you come up with? Anything. It's up to you.
I'm going to go back to the main idea, and that is find your why. I feel like that applies to life in so many different parts of our lives. And we forget to sit and do that. We forget to really identify what's driving us and check in with ourselves. So let's say find your why and check in.
Excellent. Veronica, your tweet.
I would say be true to you in every season. So You might be new every season, but be true to you in every season.
I think, Queen, if you're watching this, whomever is watching, there's a lot to really take away from this. Listen, we're having fun, we're laughing, we're smiling, but there are so many things that have been brought up that I'm sure you actually may need some coaching about. So make sure you reach out. Is that a shameless plug? Oh, we left you off. Goodbye. Bye. No, but anyway, but I want to say there's totally a lot to think about. I want to thank Carolyn Blackwell and Veronica Dinkins for coming on the show to do our chat back. I hope that you've gotten something from it. And also, please let us know your thoughts. You know, don't be afraid to put them on Facebook or even to email me, and I'll put them up here in one of our chat back shows to say what you thought about and what came up for you. I want to say cheers to everyone. Unwind with wine. Yes. Cheers. Yes. Cheers. Bye-bye. Ladies. Okay, I always do that. It's so funny, but I can't stop doing it. Ladies. All right. I
you know, do it afraid. So
yeah.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Like, that's my friend.
You know, sometimes we have our phone on Do Not Disturb, but they still get through anyway.
So I'm going to log out and log back in, but I am...
Okay. I lost the back of my ear again.
No.
Yes!
But
yes!
This was cool. It was cool. And, you know, it just, I like what you're doing. And people will be able to get to see it and speak back on it. And, you know, I just think that we need more of us on TV talking about mental issues and emotional issues. And you don't always see that. So I just think that I'm glad that this is something that you're doing.
Yep.
Thank you.
So proud.